Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Busy Life, the podcast. We are releasing our very first guest interview, and this one is with Dr. Claire McCartney. She's someone I've known for a very long time and a big inspiration to me when it comes to being a working mum. We talk all things business, how she went from being in medical space to then opening some businesses as well. And when is enough when it comes to being a business owner? This has been such an incredible conversation. I cannot wait for you to hear it. Let's get into the episode. Welcome to the podcast, Claire. Thank you so much for joining us while you're here in Hobart and making time for us. I'm sure you've got a very busy schedule. Did you want to start off by introducing yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. So I'm Claire McCartney. I am a doctor and I'm a mother of two beautiful kids, 4 and 5. And I also am a part owner and run a few businesses. So we have Sanctum Medical Aesthetics, which is our group of clinics. We've got one in Hobart, in Launceston, and one in Noosa. And I also part own and founded Circle Skincare, so a skincare range that is Tasmanian owned and based around clean, high potency ingredients to see sort of transformation in patients' skin. Yeah.
And for an icebreaker, just to get started, do you want to share what your busy win and lesson has been for the week?
Yes, absolutely. I think I was reflecting on this and we have just taken our kids to the West Coast for 6 days. And I think my win is that sometimes as a working mum, you feel like you are never doing anything well. You're never doing your job well enough. You're never there enough for your children. You're never being a good wife or a good family member. And I just feel like my win was that small amounts of quality time is often enough. Yeah. And that it was really beautiful for me, for my kids to fully disconnect, to be where there is no phone reception and to give myself that space and to know I am a great mum.
Yeah. I think as mums we need that reminder so often because, we have to do so many different areas of our life.
Yeah.
And then I also get in that way. And then I think, my mum was a working mum. She worked more than full-time hours to make us survive and eat, and I never think she worked too much. I always only think about the small times where we had really good quality time together. Went away or watched a movie and really looking back, I need to remind myself that's what I look at, not how much she worked.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's so important. And do you think that was both a lesson and win for you this?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love the West Coast.
It was so stunning and we had the best weather.
Yeah.
And
That's great.
It was great. It was great I went with my sister and her 2 kids and me and my 2 kids. And it was it was beautiful for us and for the kids. It was great.
Yeah.
Especially not being around your sister all the time too. It's probably nice to be able to get that connection
we're very
together.
close, so it was lovely to spend
very
some time
wholesome
together.
time together.
Very. And we didn't yell too much and
even better.
only ran out of wine for 1 day. So it was fine.
Oh, lovely.
I have a really interesting relationship with my sister. We're only 16 months apart.
Yep.
And we have very different dynamics. And so we're really good together for 24 hours and anything after that. It's like we need to have a little bit of a break.
Fair enough.
A little bit of a reprieve. Beautiful. We'll get straight into it and ask some questions. So how did you get into the cosmetic medical space and what initially drew you to it?
Yes, because it's not a, traditional area of medicine necessarily. So I got into it after I'd been working in the hospital as a resident for a number of years and I'd tried lots of different specialty areas, obstetrics, gynae, pediatrics, surgery. I'd done a whole bunch over a number of years and I didn't love any of it. And I really didn't want to be a miserable doctor.
I don't see that for you.
Yeah. And then I took a break and I came back to Tassie because I was in Queensland at the time and I worked with my mum at Sanctum when she had it at Battery Point. I really loved the work she did. I think even though growing up I knew that was her job, I didn't really understand what it meant. I thought it was maybe more superficial than it is or not as medical. but I loved the procedural nature of it. You
Yeah.
get to do treatments, you get to do injectables, do laser. So you're seeing really quick outcomes for patients. And I think the thing that I loved the most was the patient continuity. Getting
Yes.
to know my patients, which I didn't realize I needed.
Yeah.
In the hospital, it's very lacking. And for me, that's what made me love it, because you get to know a patient, you get to go on your journey with them. I've known some of my patients now for a decade.
Wow, that's special.
And it becomes really meaningful.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
That is very special.
You've grown up in a medical family,
Yes.
so you haven't been not exposed to the medical landscape. But
Yep.
what is something that really surprised you once you're in it?
In cosmetics?
Yes.
Yes. How future forward it is and how much innovation and change there is.
Yeah.
And that's not always true for medicine.
Mm.
And it makes it a really dynamic and a really exciting space to work in. It
Yeah.
makes it tiring because you have to stay on top of everything.
Mm.
But it is also an area where new things are being invented, new treatments are being created. And that's very good for a person like me who likes to stay inspired.
Mm.
And it's brilliant. I feel really blessed that it's part of this type of work. Yeah.
Do you find it hard as well because of legislation?
Legislation, yes.
Always are changing as well.
Yes.
Do you find that a challenge to keep up with? Because it's probably a little bit different again if you were in a hospital.
Yes. I think being a small business and trying to keep up with compliance and legislative changes is tricky. We are lucky in the sense that both my mum and I, who founded the business and have moved it forward, are highly ethical people. So we've always operated way above what has been required from a legislative perspective. And now it's sort of catching up with what we're already doing. But yes, particularly with the advertising changes that have come in, that's been really tough to stay on top of. But I do think it comes from the right place. It is really hard as a consumer to know who is a safe provider, what is a safe treatment. I think there has been too much, treatment shopping, or I want this, I want Botox, I want filler, I want to come in. And it's not really what it's about. You should go in, you should have an assessment, you should have someone look at you and go, well, this is what we can do. What are your concerns? This is how we can manage it. Here are some options.
Yeah.
It's a long-term strategy. It's not a quick fix. So I do think it is overwhelmingly for the public's benefit.
Yeah.
Everyone just has to get on board and maintain the compliance. Yeah.
Which is obviously very important. You're dealing with somebody's face a lot of the time.
Yes,
and injectables
absolutely.
as well, where there's so many different nerve endings and things that can go wrong. So it is super important that you're already more advanced and what you should be.
And the treatments do carry risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not risk-free. And I think that's what the government is trying to just get people to realise and for everyone to operate safely.
Yeah. And probably what a lot of people didn't realise is how much risk there is involved.
Yeah.
So even you being a cosmetic doctor, it's not an easy job.
No. Yeah, definitely. There's years of training that goes into it, and having someone that treats you, even as a doctor, if they've done it, they might have done a course for a weekend versus me who's been doing it for 10 years. That's a very different skill set.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. You obviously were medical trained and then have stepped into a business.
Yes.
What challenges have you found between the two hats that you're wearing?
Yeah, they are really different.
Yes.
And on a daily basis, I'm sometimes a doctor and sometimes a businesswoman. I think one of the biggest challenges for me was learning to talk about money and being comfortable talking about money, and it not being something that was taboo or not to be talked about, because that's the fundamental. If you're running a business, you need to make sure that business is profitable and that you can pay your taxes and you can pay your wages and you can pay everything, because otherwise and pay yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. And so for me, forcing myself to talk about that and understand that, because you don't get any financial training in med school or at school, frankly. So I've both really enjoyed that, but it's certainly been a big challenge.
Big challenge for it. Yeah, certainly.
And I just think my reflection on it whenever I felt uncomfortable or feel uncomfortable is that we across our clinics and our groups, we're an employer for, over 30 women.
Wow.
For me, I think I'm really proud of that fact. I'm really proud that we primarily support women in the workplace, and we have lots of women that go on maternity leave, which is brilliant. And I think some people can get frustrated by that. I think it's a real honor to be able to support someone, both to take leave to have a child, but also return to work. Grandparents, young women that are leaving school and starting jobs. So for me, whenever I get nervous about it or I feel uncomfortable about it, or I go, oh, sis, should we be raising our prices because we're not quite making ends meet here? I think about, well, if the business doesn't survive, then those 30 women don't have their incomes. And that, they're feeding their families and supporting people too. So fundamentally, it's my job to make sure they're looked after. Yeah,
absolutely.
I find that like such a stressful part of business.
I'm sure you do. Yes.
It's not just your life that you're feeding and not just your children. You're feeding, you've got the 30 women, but you've also probably got their partners and their kids to feed as well. That is so many people on your shoulders that you've got to make sure you're looking after financially.
Yeah.
Although, of course, they're making the money. You're the one that has to make sure the money's there to pay them.
Absolutely.
And make those business decisions to make sure that does survive and thrive.
And thrive.
Have that safe environment for them. So then that way they do feel welcome to come back after maternity leave. I feel like it's
And I think that is
balance.
the crux of some of those, 2 a.m. wake-ups in bed where you're mulling over things. It is that sense of responsibility. Because, yes, if everything went shut down, it was just you, but it's not just you.
No.
You do hold
got
that
the ripple effect to others.
And it's not just your mortgage on the line.
Absolutely.
It's so many more people's on the line, and it's, although we want to say it's easy to get a job, it's not always the easiest to just go out and find a new job if something was to happen.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, and having to be educated on the money side of things. We weren't when we started. We got a massive tax bill because we weren't educated on money. My partner's from a business landscape. I'm not. I'm from pay-as-you-go family. And even him being in that spot, we had this massive tax bill because we just didn't speak about money and it almost wrecked us. We've only just paid it off, after a couple of years. So
and it's hard to know where to get that advice when you're starting out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really tricky.
And even going to family members, like, completely different industries and things like that. It makes it so tricky.
And such different education levels as well. Like, it's so hard. And you don't get taught it at school.
You don't.
You don't get taught a lot of things.
And it's really tricky. And generationally, it's not something necessarily that's talked about.
No.
Yeah. I'm like, it's so fundamental.
I always find it so interesting that we were taught like algebra. And I'm in finance. Like, that is my bread and butter, is finance and maths and money. And I've never once used algebra.
Yeah,
I know.
But I can tell you what I've used is interest rates or percentages, which I didn't learn in school.
Or the tax system.
Exactly.
Boring. But gosh, I would have loved to have learned about it.
But it's fundamentals, right? Like success
it's almost more important.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's people that do algebra in their job and think it's very important that they learn. Yeah. But I think there's a lot more.
But that's a very small percentage. Like, you may as well just go get a degree in it, if that's what your purpose is. But So to have the empire that you have today, what have you had to sacrifice to get there?
Oh, my sanity. Lots. Yeah, I think you work a lot more than you think. Your brain doesn't switch off. So being, sacrificing, my work, my time, my sanity, certainly. Putting some personal things aside, for the sake of the businesses.
Yeah.
Not having holidays for a long time, and it's not that I haven't been away, but it's just that you're on call all the time. And you will, I had 2 or 3 holidays in a row, just a week, and I had a major staff member resign during every holiday. And it's those sorts of things where, you feel like you want to carve out like a little bit of time, a little bit of space to recover. So it's those sorts of things that I think sometimes can build up. But overall, I'm far more grateful for what I've got than for what I've lost. Yeah.
That's a really nice
You have
way.
to give something.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got to sacrifice something to be able to
gain. To gain something else.
Which can be hard to drop things down and give different tasks away. But at the end of the day, what you've been able to achieve has been incredible.
Yeah.
With all the pillars in your life, what are 3 of your biggest lessons so far? I know it's a big question.
No, big question. Look after your health.
Yes.
Your own mental health and your own physical health.
I love this.
because no one else is going to look after it. Your job isn't going to look after it. Your family isn't going to look after it. No one else really cares about it.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to let it slide.
Mm.
So, yeah, look after your own health, mental and physical, in whatever way that works or looks like for you.
Yeah.
Would be my number one. Number two, for me, it is a reminder or telling myself that my family is always more important than work.
Yeah.
And that to me is really grounding. And I think if I'm ever struggling to make a decision, to think about that. And that is, I don't think you'll ever make a bad decision if that's my basis.
Yes.
Yeah. Like what's going to fall, work or family? It's got to be work.
Yeah.
And what would be my third one? My third one is take the risk.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. It's always worth it.
Yes.
Sometimes it'll fail spectacularly. But that's not bad. And
there's lessons from that.
That's my approach. Is take the risk because it's fun and you'll learn something, and it might be spectacular, or it might just be a lesson in what not to do next time.
Yeah, and sometimes I think, what is the risk? Like we always talk about a risk, but it's like, what is the risk?
What is it? Yeah.
Like, is there really actually a risk?
Yeah.
Like, of course, there can be the financial loss.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do need to put a lot of money in, but you know, it's only money at the end of the day.
Yes.
You can make it back.
Yeah.
Is it the embarrassment of failing?
Yes.
Like, what is it to you that is a risk? Because if you actually look into it, there really isn't always that many risks involved.
I don't think so. And I think, I'm certainly not. I learned very early on not to be embarrassed of failure or not to be worried about failing. And that was a very, very good life lesson. It was at a sailing competition. I remember it so well. And I was very good at sport. And I won lots of things. And I did not win this sailing competition. And it was really devastating.
Yeah.
But nothing happened.
Yeah.
You know, nothing bad happened. I wasn't a terrible person.
No.
I just didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And I learned that, you know, like it's a silly lesson to learn at school, but it was a good lesson to how to fail and for it not to affect you.
And I think sometimes it's just missing from the education system and kids now is we don't want our kids to fail because we don't want them to be sad.
Yes.
So then I always step back and I'm like, no, you actually need to fail a little bit, because if you don't fail and you don't step back and learn a lesson from it, then
you're not
what are you going
anything.
to do when you start up?
I think you can be too scared to try.
Yeah. Even with, like, you know, a child walking up steps, for example, you know, sometimes I'm too scared to let my son walk up the steps or walk down. I'm like, but you need to learn how to do that. And if you fall a little bit, that's okay.
It's okay. Exactly.
Get back
it's
up.
just getting back up.
Yeah.
It's that resilience and that strength.
So important.
It's so important. It is so important. So with your skincare brand, Circle, what gap did you see that made you want to create your own skincare range?
Well, I've been working in aesthetics and skin I had been working in it for about 8 years already. Yeah. And, you know, I do believe, we all believe that skincare is, you know, 80% of your work in terms of having great skin, in terms of clearing acne, managing rosacea, all those skin concerns. If you want great skin, your skincare is 80% of the job and 20% is what we do in the clinic.
Yeah.
So without it, all falls down. A bit like brushing your teeth every night. Yeah, you need to do it. And the gap for me was having something that was trustworthy. So for me, that meant, you know, Tasmanian owned, but it's all of our products, apart from the Moroccan range, which is made in Morocco, but all of our products are actually formulated in Australia. So they fall under Australian regulations. Okay. So they're not imported from overseas in a factory. They are made here under our regulations.
Yeah.
With a factory that only uses clean ingredients, what we stipulate. So for me, trust. Efficacy, like making sure you've got potent ingredients high enough to actually work. The stuff we prescribe as a doctor, that needs to be in the bottle. Yeah. And then the other one was simplicity or you know, that you don't need 15 face products. You need some core ones. And so for us, our products are really layered. Like our sunscreen is a mineral-based sunscreen. You can use it on your kids and babies, but it's also got hyaluronic acid in it. Yeah. So you don't need a separate moisturizer.
Yeah. Our sunscreen is my favorite thing. Yeah. I literally can't live without it. Have you tried it?
No, I need to try it.
I have it on now, but I ran out of it for a few weeks. And every day I was like,
Yeah.
and then my face broke out because I was using like a different sunscreen. And I just didn't realize how much I was relying on it.
Exactly. And I think with our creams or our serums, we've really layered them. So they've got multiple ingredients in them.
Yeah.
And they all work together really well. And then you're just not overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
By, you can have this one thing or a few things and that's what you need for, great skin. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you find, did you find the formula side of things really hard to achieve or did you just know what you wanted?
We knew what we wanted.
Yeah.
We struggled to get it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make it in Tasmania, but we
Oh,
couldn't.
really?
Yeah. We couldn't find a manufacturer in Tasmania. So then we extended to Australia and we tried 3 or 4 different formulators and it was really hard to get what we wanted in terms of consistency and in terms of that product layering.
Yeah.
Single ingredient products are easy.
Yeah.
Multiple ingredient ones are tough.
Yeah.
But I love our manufacturer now and she's gorgeous and so clever with what she does. And it really is part of that art form and the back and forth. So yeah, I think that supply chain is definitely, it was the first 18 months of the work. Yeah. Was just getting all those samples and all those, trying to be happy with a product that we would all use because there are 6 founders. Of different age groups.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So 65 through to, late 20s at the time. Yeah.
How do you find having so many different business partners in your aspects of your business? Because you wouldn't be able to just blurt out what you're wanting to happen and it happens straight away.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge for you or do you like having that collaboration?
It's definitely not a business pathway that lots of people would choose. You see a lot of solo founders or pairs, and even when we were entering into it and broadening the ownership group, a lot of people were cautioning us against it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love working with these amazing women. I love that they have different skill sets and different ideas from mine. I certainly do not think I have the answer to everything.
Yeah.
I'm very aware I am just one perspective. So I think it keeps our businesses healthy.
Yeah.
I think it keeps them relevant. I think it keeps them it really helps for me with delegation and also confidence in our direction because we've already run it past our core group. And if 6 of us feel like we're going in the right direction, we're probably we're probably doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think it also means you can't hide.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just pretend everything's fine if it's not fine.
Not fine.
Or that this is a great decision if it's really not a great decision. So it helps with that accountability. So I've loved it. But I think you have to be able to work with a lot of people and that I'm fine with that. I love it.
How do you go with delegating for somebody who might struggle with delegating and want to have their pie in everything? What is your advice for them? Sorry, I'm going off script here.
That's all right.
That's also for me.
I've really had to learn it.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've had some business coaching around it as well. But it's something I've had to learn because it was breaking me. Trying to do everything was just not possible. And it particularly became a problem after I had kids. And anyone that's a mum would know, your time evaporates.
Yes.
And you have to delegate because you can't stay up till 11 o'clock fixing that thing or sorting out whatever. And it was really hard to let go, and I was really bad at teaching people how to do things, and I was really terrible at writing protocols. And so I've had to become a lot better at it, and I think I wasn't always good at it, but now I see how much it empowers all the businesses to actually move forward and how much not doing it was limiting it. Yeah. But it was tough.
Yeah. Do you, with all the pillars you have, do you ever feel like there's enough? And when do you know if you've reached it or want to keep moving more forward?
Yeah. I mean, we started Circle when I think my son was like 9 months old. So, yeah, it's never enough. I've got to I think anyone that's entrepreneurial or adventurous or excited can often just keep, finding new things and new avenues. For me, the creative outlet is important, but also if we don't have the team or we don't have the time to do something well, I won't let it happen.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of point progressing with something or starting something that's only going to be half finished.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at eyeballing something and going, that's feasible, that's not feasible right now. Yeah. I would say for me that's part of assessing. But yeah, we always want more. We always want more clinics. We always want more people to stock our skincare. Like I think we really want to grow and expand, and it's just getting that message out. Yeah. That's the exciting bit right now. Yeah.
What does success look like for you now, and how has that changed?
I feel like if I looked at myself now, you know, from starting med school or finishing school 20 years ago, I think I'd be pretty thrilled.
I think so
where
too.
I am.
I think so too.
I always wanted to, you know, success to me looked like financial independence. That was really drilled into me by my parents, particularly as a woman.
Yeah.
They wanted their children to be financially independent so you could, you know, choose to be with your partner, not be stuck. And I think that's really important. Sadly, even as a woman in modern society, that's important. We haven't overcome everything. So financially independent, but also a leader. And I look at, you know, my dad was, you know, both my parents were doctors and my grandparents were doctors. And, you know, my dad used to get flown to conferences and as a speaker. And, you know, my mum's been amazing in terms of founding these businesses. And, you know, I've been a KOL for multiple companies. I'm speaking again at a major conference this year. I'm here talking to you guys. You know, so I feel like I won the Women in 40 Under 40 Business Award last year. So I do feel like looking at, it's nice to sometimes reflect and look back.
Yeah.
And last year was a good year for reflecting and looking back with that award and going, wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like a lot. Sometimes it feels like you're failing at life because you yelled at your child about eating spaghetti. But it's important to look back and be proud of yourself. And I think I'm very proud of where I am. Not that I got here on my own. I've got incredibly supportive family and lots of, you know, people around me that have helped build the business. But yeah, I think this is success for me.
That's so
a lovely
nice.
family,
so you feel like,
good work. Being happy at work.
Getting to be in a nice hot climate.
Yes.
Flexibility with it too.
Absolutely. Being able to live and work between Noosa and Hobart. That we've been working on that plan for 8 years. You know,
wow.
So it's good for it to finally be realised.
And actually do it. Because it's one thing to move and then actually come back.
Yes,
you know? Like,
force yourself to come back and make it work. And it's hard with nannies and school and daycare and all that, but you just make it work and it's worth it. Yeah.
I'm going to go rogue and just ask a random question because I'm just like in such awe of like what you've built and what you've created.
Thanks.
Like what does the next, this is just such a like cliche question, but like what does the next 5 years look like for you in your business? Like what is it that you want to achieve? Like what is it that you're striving for?
Yeah, I think the next 5 years we want to really consolidate our clinics. They're an amazing asset and people, you know, they've got a beautiful following. And it's seeing Circle Skin grow.
Yes.
And I think you'll see wonderful things over the next 5 years. And I want to see that growth trajectory. I want to see it, you know, all over the mainland. I want to see it, you know, in Mecca. If I'd like
that
to.
would be so lovely.
Yeah, I think it would be really lovely to see that growth and expansion because we've got the feedback from all of our products is amazing. We've got a beautiful base already. We've grown very quickly in 18 months of launching.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And so for me, that's a huge focus. And as a doctor, a really exciting, you know, side avenue.
I think it's cool too. Like I supported and bought straight away because I wanted to support you. But now coming back as a regular customer to Circle, I think is really special because it shows, you know, that I actually love the products. And I'm not just there to support you now. I'm there as a actual customer that wants to continue buying the products because I love them. And like being a cult advocate for them as well, which I think is really special.
And I think we've really seen that with our customer orders. People that order and use it reorder. And that's very powerful. And it doesn't, our retention rate and our reordering rates are very high in comparison to others.
That's fantastic.
So it shows that the development of the products is really good. That they actually work.
Something I say too is I quite often buy my mum friends a sunscreen for their birthday because, you know, it's not as affordable as, a supermarket sunscreen, but it's so much more luxurious.
Yes.
And something that you might not necessarily, if you're a mum on a budget, purchase for yourself straight away without trying.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many of my friends who have purchased it for go, oh, where did you actually get that from? Because I need to get more.
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
great.
I know. And it's really important.
So,
And these are, sunscreen's the first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to do something, wear sunscreen. Yeah.
So important. Would you like to do your last question?
The last question. I don't want it to end.
Unfortunately, I have a small bladder, so I get these interviews going too long.
Okay, so what permission would you give a woman who is successful, capable, but quietly exhausted? Like, what would be the permission piece that you would give to them?
I think to take the time out and to rest. Because whatever you lose in that period or whatever you're scared of losing, again, it's like risk taking. You'll get back and it's not worth your health or your sanity.
Yeah.
Like that bit's not sustainable. You're more important than whatever other job, is causing it. Yeah. And it's not always clear and it's not always easy to see what's causing the breakdown or the stress point or the quiet exhaustion. Often it's just everything that's demanded of being a woman. So take the time out and also reach out, because if you're feeling that way, I guarantee you
someone else
are all of us.
Yeah.
And not that everyone has the answers, but just that sometimes finding someone to talk to or bond to about it can be reassuring. Yeah.
Even to just have someone to have the kids for an hour so you can go for a walk or get that facial or get a massage, just do things for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully without feeling guilt, because although it's not the best way to be, but I find us as women and being in families and business, if we're not at the top of our game, everything else will start to trickle down as well. And that's so much pressure for us to have, but it does mean that we need to be able to look after ourselves and not exhaust ourselves, because if we do, there's just going to be a massive flow-on effect, which is not the ideal way.
And I think
but
it's really
is,
tricky, particularly around the Christmas period that's just passed, and there's so much that is on women and mums, and we hold so much and we carry so much and we look after everyone. We look after our parents, we look after our siblings, we look after our kids, we look after our partners. And sometimes I just think, who looks after us?
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And for me, that's, I guess, one of my pillars is look after yourself, because there's not always someone that's looking after you.
Yeah.
So give yourself the time and the space.
Without feeling the guilt.
Without feeling the guilt. Your kids will survive.
Yeah.
They will.
Yes. Everyone will survive, if you go to the gym for an hour. I definitely have left the house with my children wailing, "Don't go, mummy," just so I can go to the gym.
Yeah.
And it's terrible.
Yeah.
You feel like the worst person ever, and you're like, I'm not. If I don't go to the gym, it means when you want me to carry you on that beach when you're exhausted, I can't do it. So, and I don't. I go without feeling guilty. Because I know I'm actually just as important as they are. Yeah.
I also found too, on a personal note as well, where I did feel the guilt for so long, and it became I was a preferred parent.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm actually doing detriment to, I'm not even saying the word right, but to my partner, because he was losing that connection with my son, because I was the go-to all the time. Everything, for bedtime, for food, for getting him water, all those things. And he wouldn't want his father because I was always there. So me stepping back a little bit and going to the gym and getting out of the house has meant that built their connection more. And they have a lovely relationship now because I've let it go, which has been so nice as well. Yeah.
And my husband says that too, because I'm definitely the preferred parent, and it's very common and super normal for all families to have a preferred parent. But he says when you're not there, it's not like they're crying.
No.
He said we have a great time. And they're thrilled. In fact, I feel like number one. So it is good to recognise that, to give your partner or your grandparent or whatever that space to be number one. Yeah. In your absence.
Which the grandparents are definitely. If the grandparents are around, I am
in my household.
If the grandparents are around, there is no point me even being
I'm
around.
nothing.
Nothing.
I'm nothing.
Zero. Yeah, grandparents are pretty high on the list, aren't they?
Yeah.
Andy's quite lucky. He's got all his grandparents divorces on all sides.
Yeah.
Family on all
Heaps
sides.
to choose from.
Great grandparents on all sides. He's like got everyone to choose from. So sometimes I do need to step back. Otherwise, he wouldn't get enough time with
all of them.
That's
so cute.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. So, as I
Thank
said,
you
I
so
know
much
you're
for
super
having
busy,
me.
and it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been very
having
fun.
you.
Very
You're
lovely
one of our
to talk
first
about.
guests, and I'm very excited to be able to edit and post this episode out to the public.
Great. Thank you so much,
Thank
both of you.
you.